The message came at 4:12 p.m. Dad, I'm so sorry, something came up, we have to cancel dinner tonight, I'll call you tomorrow. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd misread it. I had been looking forward to that dinner all week. Sundays were ours. Ever since my wife passed 3 years ago, my daughter Emily had insisted we keep the tradition. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, something green that neither of us really liked but ate anyway because her mother would have insisted. We'd sit at the same oak table that still bore faint crayon marks from Emily's childhood. We'd talk about her job, my garden, the neighbors, memories that sometimes made us laugh and sometimes made us quiet. I typed back, "That's okay, sweetheart, everything all right." The three dots appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared. "Yeah, just stuff, I promise we'll reschedule." Stuff. I told myself not to read into it. She was 30 now, married, busy, people had lives, things came up. Still, I had already shaved. I'd already put on the blue button-down she once told me made me look sharp. I had even stopped by the bakery that afternoon to pick up her favorite lemon tart. The tart sat on my kitchen counter, bright and cheerful in its little white box, like it didn't know it had nowhere to go. I tried to ignore the dull ache in my chest. I told myself to be reasonable. But by 5:30, I found myself in the car anyway. I don't know what I expected. Maybe I thought I'd drop the tart off at the door with a note. Maybe I just needed to see the house lit up to reassure myself everything was fine. Emily lived only 15 minutes away in a tidy 2-story place in the suburbs, white siding, flower boxes, the kind of home that looked like it belonged in a magazine spread about young families on the rise. As I turned onto her street, I immediately noticed the cars. 3 of them lined the curb in front of her house. One belonged to her husband, Mark, the other 2 I recognized as belonging to Mark's parents. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. That's odd, I thought. Maybe that was the stuff. Maybe something had happened with Mark's family. I parked across the street, telling myself I wouldn't jump to conclusions. Then I saw the dining room window. The curtains were half drawn but not fully, just enough that I could see shadows moving inside. The warm glow of overhead lights spilled onto the lawn, and then clear as day I saw them. Emily, Mark, his parents, all seated around the table. Plates in front of them, glasses raised, food steaming. Eating. Without me. For a moment, my brain refused to process what my eyes were seeing. Maybe it wasn't dinner, I thought wildly. Maybe it was just coffee, maybe. Then I saw Mark carving what looked suspiciously like roast chicken. My chest felt hollow. They hadn't canceled dinner. They had canceled me. I don't remember getting out of the car. I only remember standing on the sidewalk, the lemon tart box in my hand. A laugh floated through the open window, Emily's laugh, the one she'd had since she was 5, bright, unfiltered, impossible to fake. I felt something twist inside me. I walked up the driveway before I could talk myself out of it. Each step felt heavier than the last. I rang the doorbell. Inside I heard movement, chairs scraping, a brief hush. The door opened a few seconds later. Emily stood there, napkin still in her hand. Her face drained of color when she saw me. "Dad." Her voice wasn't angry, it wasn't warm either, it was startled, caught. "I was in the neighborhood," I lied automatically, holding up the box. "Thought I'd drop this off." Behind her I could see the table clearly now. 4 plates, 4 glasses of wine, half-eaten dinner. Mark appeared over her shoulder. His expression shifted quickly from surprise to something else, something guarded. "Oh," he said, "Hi, Frank." Frank. He started calling me that instead of Dad after the wedding, said it felt more natural. I hadn't argued. "I thought dinner was canceled," I said carefully. Emily swallowed. It is for us, for you, I mean." She stopped, clearly flustered. "Mark stepped in. My parents decided to stop by last minute," he said smoothly. "We didn't think you'd want to come all the way out again." "All the way out?" 15 minutes. "I see," I said. Silence stretched between us. Behind them, Mark's mother peered around the corner. "Is everything all right?" she called. Emily turned halfway. "Yeah, it's just Dad." "Just Dad." 2 words. They shouldn't have hurt as much as they did. I forced a smile. "I won't interrupt, just wanted to say hello." "You can come in," Emily said quickly, though her body didn't move aside to make space. I glanced past her again, foreplay settings, no extra chair. No, it's all right, I said. I can see you're in the middle of something. Mark's father appeared now too, wiping his mouth with a napkin. Frank, he said with a polite nod, didn't expect to see you. Clearly, I muttered before I could stop myself. Emily's eyes flicked to mine. There it was. That flicker of guilt. I handed her the box, for you. She took it slowly, you didn't have to. I know. I stood there for another second, unsure what I was waiting for, an explanation, an apology. Neither came. Enjoy your dinner, I said finally. I turned before they could see the sting in my eyes. The drive home felt longer than 15 minutes. I kept replaying the scene in my head, the laughter, the full table, the way Emily had looked at me like I'd shown up at the wrong place at the wrong time. Had I? Maybe I was being dramatic, maybe it really was last minute, maybe they didn't want to hurt my feelings by choosing one set of parents over the other. But then why not invite me anyway? There was enough food. Enough chairs could have been found. Enough room at the table. Unless there wasn't room for me anymore. That thought followed me into the house. The lemon tart box was gone now, but its absence felt heavier than its presence had. I sat at my kitchen table alone that night, staring at the empty chair across from me, the one my wife used to occupy. You always said this would happen, I murmured to the quiet room. She worried about it when Emily got engaged. It's not that she'll love you less, she'd said gently. It's that her world will grow, and sometimes when worlds grow, we don't notice who gets pushed to the edges. I had dismissed it then. Emily was different. She was my girl. The next morning she called. Dad, she began, her voice tight, why did you come over? I blinked at the question, I was dropping off the tart. You could have just left it on the porch. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to knock. Silence. That's not fair, she said finally. Isn't it? She sighed, it wasn't what you think. Then what was it? Another pause. It was Mark's parents' anniversary, she said. They wanted something small, just family. I gripped the phone tighter, I'm not family. You know that's not what I mean. It sounded exactly like that. She didn't respond immediately. Dad, she said softly, sometimes it's just easier. Easier. They're sensitive, she continued. If we split holidays, they get upset. If we don't prioritize them, sometimes they feel excluded. Mark doesn't want tension. So you exclude me instead. That's not fair. The phrase again. I exhaled slowly. Did it occur to you that I might feel excluded? I didn't think you'd just show up. There it was again. As if I had crossed a boundary. I thought of all the years she'd burst through my office door at work because she'd forgotten her lunch, all the times she'd shown up unannounced after her first heartbreak, all the Sundays she'd insisted were sacred. When did I become someone who has to wait for permission? I asked quietly. Her breath hitched slightly. It's not about permission, she said, it's about balance. Balance. I had never asked her to choose. I had never demanded every holiday. I had simply assumed there was room. I don't want to fight, she said, can we just move on? Move on. Like it was a minor scheduling mix-up. I need a little time, I replied. Dad. I love you, I said because that part was still true. Then I hung up. The days that followed were quieter than usual. She didn't call again. Neither did I. I kept busy, I trimmed hedges that didn't need trimming, reorganized the garage, baked a pie I didn't eat. But the image of that table stayed with me. 4 plates. 4 glasses. No space. A week later, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, Emily stood there alone. No Mark. No tension in her posture this time, just something fragile. Can I come in, she asked. I stepped aside. She walked slowly into the kitchen, glancing around as if seeing it differently. It feels smaller, she said softly. It's always been this size. She sat at the table, the same one she'd grown up at. I messed up, she said finally. I didn't answer right away. Mark's parents have always been intense, she continued. They expect to be included in everything, they keep score. And you're afraid of disappointing them. She nodded. And disappointing me doesn't scare you? I asked gently. Tears welled in her eyes. That's not fair. I almost smiled at the irony. I thought you'd understand, she whispered. You've always been the reasonable one. Reasonable. Stable. Safe. The one who wouldn't make a scene. I understand wanting peace, I said. What I don't understand is why peace requires my absence. She broke then. Full unfiltered tears. I didn't think it would hurt you like that. That's the problem, I said quietly. You didn't think about me at all. The words hung in the air between us. She reached across the table, taking my hand. I'm sorry, she said. I've been trying so hard to be a good wife that I forgot how to be a good daughter. You don't have to choose, I said, but you do have to be honest. She nodded. I told Mark we can't do that again, she added. If we host dinner, we invite everyone or we tell the truth. I studied her face. The little girl who used to insist I check under her bed for monsters. The teenager who slammed doors and then apologized with notes slid under mine. The woman who was still learning. Are you happy? I asked. She hesitated. That's a bigger question, she admitted. I squeezed her hand. Then let's start with dinner, I said. She laughed through her tears. That Sunday she came over early. We cooked together like we used to. Halfway through there was another knock. My stomach tightened slightly. But when Emily opened the door, it was Mark. Alone. He stepped inside awkwardly. I owe you an apology, he said. I raised an eyebrow. For what it's worth, he continued, I didn't realize how it looked. My parents can be demanding. I was trying to keep things simple. Simple rarely means fair, I replied. He nodded. We'd like you to come over next week, he said. All of us, no cancellations. I studied him for a long moment. Then I extended my hand. All right. The following Sunday, I walked into their house again. This time there were 6 place settings. 6 glasses. 6 chairs. And when Emily saw me, her smile didn't falter. As I took my seat, Mark's mother offered a tight but polite greeting. It wasn't warmth, but it was acknowledgement. It was space. And sometimes space is enough. Dinner wasn't perfect. Conversations overlapped awkwardly. There were moments of forced cheer. But there was also something new. Boundaries. Honesty. And when dessert came, lemon tart, this time brought by Emily herself, she set it down in front of me first. For Dad, she said simply. Not just Dad. Just Dad. And that was enough.